You want the truth about people who don't post their photo? Most of the internet will give you the lazy answer. They're insecure. That's the surface-level, low-effort take. Sometimes it's true. But if you stop there, you miss the real story. Because not posting your face is rarely one thing. It's a decision. And decisions come from fear, strategy, trauma, pride, control, or intelligence. Let's break it down, brutally. 1. The privacy is power person. Some people don't post their face because they learned something early. Visibility is a liability. When you post your face, you don't just share a photo, you give the world a handle, a label, a searchable identity. And once you're searchable, people feel entitled to you, your past, your family, your location, your life. These people aren't hiding because they're weak. They're hiding because they're experienced. They've seen what happens when strangers feel like they know you. They've seen screens turn into stalking. They've seen jokes turn into harassment. They've seen just a photo turn into a permanent profile they can't control. So they stay faceless, not because they're scared, because they're not naive. 2. The brand without a body person. Some people don't post their photo because they're building something bigger than their face. They want the content to be the identity, not the person. They don't want followers, they want leverage. Because when your face becomes the product, you become trapped. You can't change your mind without backlash. You can't grow without people accusing you of switching up. You can't disappear without people demanding explanations. So they do the opposite. They build a voice, a theme, a style. They make themselves replaceable on purpose. That's not insecurity, that's strategy. 3. The two lives person. Now here's the uncomfortable one. Some people don't post their face because they're living two versions of themselves. The one they show in public and the one they are in private. Maybe they're the good kid in real life, but online they're angry, honest, loud, rebellious. Or maybe they're respected in public, but online they want to be soft, or weird, or vulnerable, or romantic, or broken. And they know if the face connects to the account, the two worlds collide. So they stay faceless because they're not ready to let people see the full picture. And if you've never lived that kind of double life, you won't understand how heavy it is. 4. The I don't trust compliments person. This is rarer. Some people don't post their photo because they don't want the feedback loop. Because once you post a face, your brain starts tracking reactions, likes, comments, silence, views. And whether people admit it or not, that number becomes a mirror. So these people choose a different kind of peace. They don't want to measure their worth in public. They don't want to wake up and think, was I less attractive today? That's not weakness. That's someone who understands how quickly the brain becomes addicted to approval. 5. The control freak person. And yes, sometimes it really is control. They don't post because they hate being perceived. They hate being misread. They hate being judged. Because photos are unfair. A single frame can turn you into arrogant, awkward, desperate, boring, fake. So they choose the only thing they can fully control: words. Text lets them edit themselves. Photos don't. Here's the twist nobody says out loud. Some people don't post their face because they don't need to. They don't need strangers to validate their existence. They don't need to prove they're real. They don't need to be seen. And honestly, that level of self-containment is rare now. Because most people aren't posting photos to share memories. They're posting proof. Proof they're happy, proof they're attractive, proof they're living. So when someone refuses to play that game, it confuses people. And confusion gets labeled as insecurity. So the real question isn't, why don't they post their photo? The real question is, why does it bother you when someone doesn't? Because if you need everyone to be visible, what you really want is predictability. And faceless people are unpredictable. You can't judge them fast. You can't categorize them instantly. You can't win the comparison game. And that's exactly why some of them stay hidden. Not because they're scared, because they're free. If this made you look at people a little differently, stay curious. Because the more you observe human behavior, the stranger it becomes.